Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. I'm Eoin Devereux, sports and news reporter with the Neepawa Banner Press. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time to spend with us this week. I'm joined this week by Kira Paterson, news reporter with the Banner and the Press. Both, exactly. So great to have you in here this week, Kira.
Good to be here, kind of.
That was some strange honesty that happened right there.
I cannot tell a lie.
Don't worry, she has got a bunch of other stuff on the go right now. That's why it's like...
Is that what it is? Yeah. Sure, yeah, that's what it is.
Or maybe you're just sleepy.
Yeah. More likely.
Either way, we're going to wake you up with a lot of news. And this week's edition really is chock full of a lot of different things on the go. And this week's edition starts off with a little bit of nice news for a local business being recognized for the work they did during the stressful times of COVID-19, the code red restrictions, and just in general. Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce named it Business of the Year for 2020 during its annual general meeting, which was held via Zoom conference recently. And that honor went to Your Dollar Store with More, and much deserved. Congratulations to them on that. So, Kira, what's your take on? First off, you shop there, right? You pop in from time to time.
I mean, I don't do a lot of shopping myself, but when I do shop, that is one of the places I go. But yeah, they. One of the reasons that was cited that they were nominated was their ability to adapt to the COVID pandemic. I know for a while they had to be closed, like their doors had to be closed completely because of the whole non-essential business thing. And one of the things that they did to adapt to that was they created a Facebook page. I'm not 100% sure if they already had the Facebook page or if they just started using it more. I feel like I remember it being there before, but I can't say for sure. But they started using their Facebook page to market all of their items. They would put pictures of different shelving, different items that they had available, and give all the information for curbside pickup, et cetera, et cetera. Even once they were able to open again, when they did have some essential things, but they still had stuff that they couldn't sell, they were open, they could sell their essential items, but on Facebook they would put the pictures of the non-essential items and say, you guys can still curbside pick up this stuff, you can still get this non-essential stuff, even if it is essential to you, you can curbside pick up, and they would put all that information out there like constantly, probably daily at least. They had some photos and some information, and it was really good to see. And I know that I quite often looked at it for inspiration for Christmas shopping and that kind of thing as well. So it was really good to see them adapt and still grow from all of the challenges that happened this year.
That's right, Kira. They did a really good job in 2020 of innovating to the situation that they and so many other businesses were dealing with the restrictions, with COVID-19. And with all of that. And as well, what I liked, and I put a mention in the story about that, is they didn't stop giving to others as well. They continued their support of organizations like the Salvation Army, for instance. And some businesses, when they're in stressful times, will sort of amalgamate lockdown, as it were, sort of not give the way they
tighten their
would.
Purse strings a little, right?
Precisely, Kira. And they didn't do that, which I really that stuck out when I was listening in on the Zoom conference for the Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce and from the announcement. And that Zoom conference took place on Monday, the
25th?
25th?
I think.
Let's say 25th. I don't have a calendar in front of me. And as you know, we usually just sort of riff as we go along on here. But it occurred on Monday, and it was really nice. Karen Dick and Brenda Harbour, who are the owners, operators of Your Dollar Store with More, congratulations to them and to their employees. I mean, it's not just one person or two people that put in all the time and the effort. It's a group effort that comes up with the ideas and then runs with them and makes them work. So kudos to them on that. You can find that story pretty much right on the front page of this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner Press. In regard to the Chamber of Commerce's AGM, I wrote that as a slightly separate story. You can find that on page 18 of this week's paper. No picture to go along with it because, as I said, it was a Zoom conference. And what was I going to do? Just a screen grab of a bunch of people staring at monitors? No. But I focus more on the content of the meeting itself. And as you could probably put together, 2020 was a stressful time for the district. And as well, Neepawa Tourism, which co-hosts in its own way. It's more of a 60-40 co-host thing. It's mainly the chamber, and then tourism, tags along.
A little bit of a piggyback thing.
Exactly. But the chamber talked about the stresses they dealt with. Financially, they did not bring in as much in 2020 as they had in previous years. And a big reason for that, pretty much the primary reason for that, is being unable to host the annual chamber fair. That is a revenue generator for them on an annual basis. Plus, it's just fun being able to have the fair come to town. All the families go out there and enjoy it for a couple days. They didn't do that this year because of all the uncertainty of the spring and the summer due to COVID-19. So that put them in a bit of a financial pickle. They're still chugging along as best they can right now. It's just some of the money that they usually have in the bank, it's not there this year. So they're being a little smarter with some of their decision making. They're making a few plans for 2021 though. They are optimistic. They still remain optimistic that this year's fair will be able to go forward. But we don't know until we know for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you go to the fair when it comes in, or?
I occasionally do. The last time it was here, I went, I think, to take pictures for the paper. So it was kind of an obligatory thing. But no, I have gone in the past, and the rides aren't as much my thing, but I do enjoy like the food trucks and the mini donuts and all that kind of thing, and they have their parade and all that sort of thing. So it's a really nice little event. And it was really too bad that it couldn't happen this year because people look forward to it every year. But yeah, hopefully this coming year it will be able to. I highly doubt it'll be able to be exactly the same as it usually is. There will probably have to be some restrictions in place, but it'll still, if it comes, it'll still be fun.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can get that back and get some more revenue.
Yeah. They also talked about some positivity moving forward. They received a grant from the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce for $10,000 that they're going to be putting towards a Shop Local initiative. Now, some specific details are going to be made available in the future on that. They're still working out sort of the little idiosyncrasies, as it were, of putting that together. So keep an ear out, keep an eye out, keep a nose out for more information on that coming onto the pages of the Banner and Press sometime in the near future. And as well, like I said, tourism had to do a presentation as well, and as the board chair of tourism, I had to do that presentation. Obviously, a lot of things we wanted to do in 2020 we couldn't do because nobody was going out. You couldn't go out on vacations. There was a portion of the summer where people were able to travel, and it almost felt a little normal, but a lot of it was sort of very restrictive. The weird thing, though, is we were able to chug along pretty darn good. We got some money in the coffers right now, and we're ready and willing to spend it. We got a couple things that we want to do here in town, a lot of signage type things that we're very hopeful will be able to be done in 2021, and hopefully have people from other communities come and see. But that again is a sort of a wait and see attitude, isn't it, Kira?
Mm-hmm. I know, it all depends on how the whole COVID thing plays out, and it sounds so repetitive, and I hate that this is what everything is depending on, but we do want to be careful, and we don't want to just charge ahead and then all of a sudden our plans be completely thrown off, right? Everybody needs to be a little bit hesitant in planning, or at least kind of planning for either or, right?
Yeah. Now, if you want to get a little more in depth on the numbers of what happened over the year, You can find that story. It is on page 18 of the Banner Press for this week. Let's head over to the editorial section. Ken Waddell, as always, has opinions, and he loves sharing them with us. This week, he shared them about Canada Post. And, yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. I've been saying this a couple times the last couple weeks about Ken's columns, but he's spot on. He's exactly spot on, in my opinion, on this. He talks about the stresses that are going on with Canada Post, and he doesn't lay the blame with the local chapter of it. You see the people in Canada Post in Neepawa, Mendoza branches, they're doing what they can with the circumstances they are allowed to deal with. He has problems with the major distributions and the delays and all the shipping issues that are going on right now, and the categories of what is first-class mail, and why first-class mail doesn't seem to be treated first class all that much anymore. Kira, what was your takeaway on what Ken had to share with us?
I completely agree. He talks about how the volumes, obviously Christmas volumes are always way higher, but even just gradually over the years, the volumes have been going up because people are shopping online more, and especially this past year due to the pandemic, people are shopping online because they can't go to stores as much, and so the volume has just slowly been getting higher and higher, and all of a sudden it's at this peak this year. And he talks about how they know all of this, but they're like, we'll let what we have deal with it. So we don't want to add trucks, we don't want to add staff, and it's the people at the top that are deciding these things. And I think that it really needs to be kind of based around the need. If you need more trucks, if you are overfilling these trucks and then there's still stuff left in the depot that you can't take, obviously you need another truck to run. Like, how hard is it to figure out? And if you're getting this much of a volume, it can't be that much of an expense to add another truck because there's that much more going. So it really doesn't make sense that they would be just like, oh yeah, we'll just sort it differently and make people wait more for their checks coming in the mail and this and that, and let the people that are ordering on Amazon get their stuff first. Like, it doesn't seem like there's much logic at the top. And I guess because they're not seeing it on the ground, they don't understand.
And I'll tell a personal story related to this, because we all had a little fun with that over the weeks and months that it played out. And part of this has to do with government bureaucracy as well on a provincial level. But I think it was September, I had to get a new health card. My other health card had been destroyed beyond recognition, so I needed a new one. So I sent in the application to get the card in September. And I waited. And waited. So on, so forth, waited. The snow started to fall. And then finally, I got a letter back, again, this was the government bureaucracy, saying that I had to send this application form, not the other application form that I'd had, and I had to send it in this envelope, not this other envelope I had sent. And plus as well, they said the envelope was too small for the application, so I ended up having to fold it like some sort of origami. So I had to send that, and then waited weeks and weeks and weeks. And weeks again until it finally arrived. And it was just like, isn't this supposed to be a priority? But no, somebody's Amazon shipment apparently was the priority. And I can understand why people would be frustrated by that. Yeah. But if you have your own stories as well, send us a letter or thumbs up, thumbs down. Let us know about it. And again, hopefully you also understand that this isn't the local employees' faults. They're just as frustrated as we in the general public are about this. All these decisions are pretty much right from the top. So don't take it out on the person behind the counter in general, whether it's Canada Post or even just a store. The decisions are made by the people in the big chairs. Always remember that. So Ken's column, give it a read. It's really worth it this week. Let's shift over on to page 2. Kira, you came up with a great story this week about a young student, and you actually did something here on NACTV on that as well, didn't you?
I was going to say, this might seem like a deja vu for some of the people that regularly watch NACTV, because there is a coffee chat that I hosted very poorly. My very first hosting job, and I interviewed Jordan Emerson, who is a university student taking pharmacy at U of M, and she was in Neepawa at Harris Pharmacy doing a little bit of a practicum placement for 4 weeks. And so she was here and we had a little bit of a chat, and from the chat that we had and the interview that I did, I also wrote up an article for the paper. So a little bit of multitasking on my end, but it wasn't really extra work. It was just I had to sit in front of a camera to do my interview instead of on the phone or whatever it would have been. But yeah, so she was here in Neepawa. She talked a little bit about her experience in Neepawa, her why she wanted to become a pharmacist, what her experiences are with the university program, all that kind of a thing. It's a pretty interesting read because she does get a little bit in depth, and if you're interested in how people become pharmacists, it's actually pretty cool. But Jordan was really nice. She was great to talk to. I really appreciated her coming down here and having a chat on NACTV and for the paper. So if you haven't seen the show, read the story. And if you have seen the show, read the story anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And it was interesting. You make that comment, Kira, about not sort of all the little odds and ends it takes to be a pharmacist. And again, I had no idea the process they had to go through, the learning and the years that they have to do to get that knowledge and that experience. It was very informative.
Yeah, and she even mentioned that like this year has been different, or this last couple of years, the program she's in is different. They're starting to transition to a different program for pharmacy. And so what you thought was pharmacy, if you knew a little bit about what they went through, there's something new that they're going through now, so there's even more to learn. Yeah.
You can find that's on page 2. And of course, you'll have to check the local listings of NACTV's schedule. If you're unable to sort of pick up a version of the paper, you can see it right here on NACTV. Once again, check the schedule, local listings for that coffee chat. So, yeah, great. All right, we seem to be spotlighting a lot of people doing good this week. Your dollar store with more, all the work they did, they were honored with that. And another honor that was bestowed on some local individuals. This one, a name that I am sure people who consistently watch Story Behind the Stories will be familiar with, the Atkinsons, the Atkinson family, former employee here at the Neepawa Banner Press, Kate Jackman Atkinson, along with her husband Matthew, and Matthew's parents, Tony and Sue Atkinson, were honored by the Manitoba Angus Association. They were named, all co-named, the 2020 Commercial Cattle Producers of the Year. Congratulations to the family. They've been doing this for an extended period of time, working in with Black Angus and cultivating that herd. And it's been a while since I've sort of had to focus on the ag sector, so it was jumping back in for me, sort of relearning some of the things I had forgotten about over the years. I was very appreciative of Tony and Kate and Matthew and walking me through sort of the specifics, why the Angus herd is the preferred herd. And I also reached out to the association. They were able to give me a quote on that, why they felt that the Atkinsons was just an example, a shining example of what the association is all about and what they're trying to achieve. So you can find that on the Rural Outlook page, page 11. Was very glad to put a spotlight on them for their achievement. Anything you would like to add on that, Kira?
No, basically just good on you, Atkinsons and Kate. I mean, obviously we know her here, so it's really cool to see her and her family stand out a little bit, which it kind of makes us all a little bit proud to have worked with her.
Yep, exactly. All right, that's on page 11. If you skim over slightly to your left onto page 10, you're going to see a story from Kira. She did this story last week, a little closer to home, but now she's branching out to Carberry in terms of some grants that are being distributed.
Yes, this is, again, another deja vu moment because this is round 2 of the Emergency Community Support Fund, which goes to the different community foundations across Canada, and they give money that they are given by the Emergency Community Support Fund to people who apply in their communities. And so last week we had the story about the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation, which is the Neepawa area, and this week we have the Carberry area Community Foundation, and they gave away a lot of grants, and it is a very long story because there were a lot of different recipients, but it's really cool to see what these recipients did with the money and what they were planning for it, and how the Community Foundation was able to help them adapt to COVID-19 or help them pay for some of the extra expenses that COVID-19 has put upon them and all that kind of a thing. So there's Beautiful Plains, Carberry. Next week, we are planning to have Big Grass Community Foundation, which is the Gladstone area. All of these community foundations received $30,000 in round 2 of this support fund, so they were able to give $30,000 out to their communities. Previously, they had already given out $40,000, so it's a pretty big infusion of cash from the federal foundation, Community Foundations of Canada. That's the word.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to see that is helping during such a tough time for so many organizations.
Yeah, that is fantastic, and as you said, it is round 2. If you want to find out a little bit more in terms of the specifics, you can find that. Kira did a thorough write-up on that and how it's going to be playing out within the region of Carberry. So always like to hear a little bit of good news in terms of that. I can't believe it, Kira. Not only do we have a sports this week, but we have two pages of sports. That's
pages.
crazy.
Ah!
Mainly, obviously everything for the most part has been shut down. But again, 2 sports pages, but a lot of it talks about how sports continues to be shut down. So it's not exactly it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back type of thing.
I mean, one of the pages is all good news, so that's ouch. So if you want to stock our paper cut, stupid sports page, I can't believe it.
Another reason why Kira hates the sports pages.
That's terrible.
And it just shows the danger of this
and
this
the worst
industry.
thing is, it was the bad news sports page that paper cut me. So read the good news one, but don't read the bad news one. Boycott that page.
Don't do that. No. All right. While Kira gets healed up,
Yeah.
we'll send her in for injury protocols right now. I will just quickly walk you through some of the items we were talking about. Kira said there was some good news, and I'm very pleased to be able to share this news. Laura Denbo, a track and field athlete from Neepawa. We've talked about her in the past several times. A very good athlete, has committed to Oregon State University and will be a member of their track and field team, the Oregon State Beavers, a very well-regarded team and program within the Pac-12 conference in the United States. For those of you unfamiliar, Pac-12 is a very good conference when it comes to competitive track and field. Every single university, I should say, every single university in that program usually has a good, solid base of track and field. And again, different conferences have different levels of skill. When you look at the SEC, that's mainly a football-specific program. When you look at something like the ACC conference, that's a strong basketball program. And the Pac-12, right now, track and field is pretty big for them. So for Laura to be able to get onto one of those programs and achieve, this really is something that she and her family and everyone who supported her through this should be very proud of. Mm-hmm. You can find that story. I'm not even doing it justice right now in this explanation, but you can find that story here on page 12. Congratulations to Laura and the Denbo family on that. Other items we talked about as well. Page 13, we talk a little bit about hockey and a little bit about curling, but mainly we'll focus on hockey first. Manitoba Junior Hockey League and AAA hockey remain in limbo, even though regulations for Code Red were changed to a degree recently. Organized sports, such as hockey, remain sort of stuck in the starter's gate, waiting for the chance to go. And MJHL was a little, I'll be honest, wishy-washy with its statement, in my opinion. AAA League was a little more forthright in their opinion. They said, hey, let us go. Come on. So I wrote up some information on that. I also got the local perspective from our team. Ken Pearson, the GM and coach for Neepawa. Ken Waddell, the board chair for the team as well. I talked to them. They shared their opinions of how they're trying to do it on a local level, trying to make everything work. Because it is a real balancing act for them right now with all this uncertainty. And they still got bills to pay. And it's unfortunate. I wish they'd make a decision one way or another in terms of the province and the league. I mean, let's get her done, one way or the other. One other thing, very quickly, like 5 minutes before we had to go to print, we got the story about the Neepawa Curling Club deciding to cancel its season. So we rushed to get that on the page, didn't we, Kira?
Yeah, I was kind of going through Facebook and I thought, there's a thing about the Neepawa Curling Club, and we didn't put it in the paper.
Yep.
That seems like an important thing.
Yep, it came out just sort of a day or so before, and it just like, oh God, we gotta rush, we gotta get it done.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we scrambled to get it on the page that injured Kira, mind you.
Yes.
So you definitely have to read that story now for Kira's sake.
There's a little bit of blood in that now.
She bled to bring the information to you.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it was kind of funny. We had this filler ad in there just to kind of fill some space and to give some information about the paper, and we thought, oh, we can quickly fit in a little blurb about how the curling club has canceled their season. So we scrambled and wedged it in, and then we kind of rearranged it like, oh, does this look good? No, it doesn't look good. This look good.
It didn't look. A couple versions we did, they just didn't look good. And again, for the average person, maybe it wouldn't stick out, but when you see it, you know it. It's one of those things. As soon as you know it's there, it's there.
Yeah. So it was kind of a little bit of a mad dash to be like, okay, we got to get this in. Let's make it fit. But that's one of those stories behind the stories of that's how the paper comes together.
With like 2 minutes to spare before we had to send it off for print. So.
I mean, because we had like half an hour, and then all of a sudden it was down to 2 minutes. Like, how did it take us this long to get this put in there?
Well, we were coasting most of the day, and then but that is our version of this week's story behind the stories. There's several other stories. We got one about the Yellowhead Center that we didn't have time to cover. One about Lainey Mura, if I mispronounced that, I apologize, committing the ACC. A new commitment to the Neepawa natives. Just so many stories that, Country Meadows residents getting their shots. That's why you need to pick up a copy of the paper to see all of it. And if you have any suggestions for us for news items, you can contact us as well at news@neepawabanner.com or sports@neepawabanner.com or Kira's at pages@neepawabanner.com. As well, 476-3401, the number we can be reached at. We always like to talk to people. We might not always have the time to talk for an extended period, but we try. We definitely try. And we, as always, appreciate you taking a little bit of your time to share your stories with us. If we don't get to them the week of, we're trying. We're definitely trying. I got a bunch of stories done this week, but there's still like 3 or 4 on my to-do list, and I'm going to get to them, I promise. I'm going to do the best I can. Same with Kira and Casper. I mean, they're always sort of trying to get the stuff done, but there's only so many hours in the week. So, but that's about it for now. We appreciate you and your support, both through the TV station and from picking up the paper. So thank you very much, and I hope that you have a good week.